Create a Life You Love podcast, the go-to podcast for people who are called to make a positive impact through the power of coaching. You'll hear encouraging stories from coaches sharing their journeys and their lessons learned along the way, tips from top experts who help coaches thrive in their life and their business, and so much more. So if you're ready to create a business and a life of impact that you love, let's get started. Hello, everybody. Hey, Gwen. Hey, Reagan. How are you tonight?
I'm so excited.
Hi. Awesome. Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to today's very special episode of the Create a Life You Love podcast. I think every episode's very special if you haven't noticed. So, yes, maybe slightly. So if you are new, my name is Chantel Cox. I'm an author, a speaker, a transformation neurocoach, and a certified life purpose coach. And I save purpose-driven coaches from feeling stuck and frustrated so that you can get off the hamster wheel and make the aligned impact that you are destined for without overwhelm and burnout.
And I'm Gwen White, a quantum human design specialist and certified virtual coach who works with introverts, taking you from overwhelmed, overloaded, burned out to clarity, sustainability, and vitality, providing a reliable process and simple aligned strategies to help you get massive traction on your most important work using the human design system. So before we launch in and get to know this amazing woman, I want to send a quick shout out to our sponsor, the Create a Life You Love membership, which is a growing community of passionate, purpose-driven coaches who are partnering together to up-level their knowledge, gain momentum, and impact so that they can step into their power as coaches and women. So please, for more information and to apply, we hope you'll check it out at createalifeyoulovecoaching.com/membership today.
Yes. A quick reminder that this episode is being streamed live onto Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. We are using Restream. And so wherever you are joining us from, feel free to share comments and questions in the chat. If you are on Facebook, please be sure to allow permissions at chat.restream.io/FB for Facebook. That will help us see who you are and help engage with you. And so now that we've got all that out of the way, I'm so excited to introduce you to my good friend, Reagan Storm. She is a sales and self-trust mastery coach who helps burnt out coaches sign four-figure clients by simplifying their sales strategy and implementing her self-trust framework so that they can make their coaching their forever job. Welcome, Reagan. How are you today?
I'm so excited. I'm so honored, and I cannot wait to just talk about self-trust and coaching. So I'm just really excited to be here.
Awesome. We are so excited to have you. For anybody that was with us last week, I shared that I actually know Reagan in person. We are part of a networking community for women entrepreneurs here in Wichita, Kansas. So it's super exciting to connect with and support a fellow Wichitan. Yes.
Yes, it is so exciting because, you know, you can get in that mindset like the Midwest is small, it doesn't have a lot of entrepreneurs, but that's just not true at all. So it is so exciting to see us Midwest gals take up space in the coaching industry.
Absolutely.
I love it. That is awesome. Well, Reagan, it's really fantastic to have you. I actually come from a sales background, so I'm super excited to learn about the sales strategy piece. But first, we'd love it if you would share a little bit about your journey to creating a life you love through redefining your rules for success in coaching. And we'd love to know who you serve, how you got started.
Yeah. I always tell people, like, I just took the next best step and I landed here. Like, that whisper, that intuition, I didn't even know the coaching industry existed until one day I was like, I need a business coach. I need someone to talk with. Like, my business isn't working, it's failing. And, like, I had all of these thoughts. And so I actually started with blogging and influencing. I try to be an influencer. I actually did pretty well. I got some free stuff, but I realized like through that, I was like, this isn't my passion. Like, I'm just taking photos. Like, it didn't speak to me in the way that I wanted. And somehow, by like divine intervention, I landed on a webinar, and it was like how to make your passions profitable. And a long story short, I ended up taking B school. It's like a business school, Marie Forleo. I think hopefully I said that right. And that's kind of just like the first step I had into coaching. And then of course our coaching business has evolved. So I started out with helping people in their quarter life crisis. That's what I named it. Like right
I love
after,
that.
yes, right after college or right after school or like right after, a corporate job. And you're like, yeah, like this is not how I thought I would feel. This isn't what I'm loving. And so from that space, what happened is a lot of my clients wanted to start their own business. And so it kind of evolved into coaching. And now it's sales and self-trust, because after 3 years, I've been really perfecting like, how do I get my clients results? And it was from a simple sales system and developing their self-trust. So I would just tell you, I was just taking the next best step. I found my rhythm and I kind of landed here.
Fantastic. Well, you actually answered my next question, because it was all about why sales and self-trust. So that's really interesting that you sort of landed on those two kind of overarching themes. Really cool.
Yeah. I think for so long I was doing everything right. I was doing everything by the book. I was investing in myself. I mean, I was a course junkie, y'all. The amount of courses I had, I don't even want to say. I don't even know actually. And I was just like, why am I not seeing like the results that I want? And I realized I was doing too much. So then I was like, let's move to simple. Like when we're learning something new, we're usually not doing a lot, but we do that in business for some reason. And then one of the biggest missing pieces was this like level of trust with myself, with my own convictions, my intuition, the things that I wanted to bring into the world. And so that's how it kind of landed there. And then from there, developed a lot of concepts for myself and my clients.
Very nice. Well, I can tell you, you as a human design manifester, all of what you're talking about sounds incredibly aligned. So good for
So
you.
funny. I love that.
I love that we're able to bring in all the things, the human design and coaching and neuro coaching, and it's awesome. So Reagan, something like one of our kind of pillars and values with all Create a Life You Love things is really designing not just a business, but a life of impact that you love. And so I'm curious, like, what does that mean to you? What would be your definition of creating a business and life of impact that you love?
That's so good. I think for me is that it's like you love all parts of your life. For a long time, my business was my identity. It was everything to me. And then when I moved into this, I was like, there's so much good to life that like the sliver of our business is only one piece of the pie, right? So that's when I started to like tap back into my body, to my friends, to all these things. So I think creating like a life and purpose is like we get to have our purpose and our business, and we get to figure out like just having joy and fun and pleasure outside of that. And so I think it's like, yes, living in our purpose, walking that divine path. And also it's like why can it just be good too outside of that?
Absolutely. I love
Yeah.
that. And then just so everyone knows, if you're trying to find us, we are having some minor tech difficulties with Facebook. So, but we are for sure live in YouTube. And so I'm getting everything set up on Facebook to direct to YouTube. So hopefully we get a couple more people with us live here in a minute. And wherever you're joining us from, welcome, welcome. Share comments and questions in the chat for Reagan. All right, Miss Reagan. A big thing that stood out to both Gwen and I is that you talk about burnout and helping coaches with burnout. And no matter what industry, no matter what profession, like burnout is just so prevalent these days. And so, what exactly is burnout and what do you think causes it?
Ooh, this is so good. I think burnout is you're beyond your capacity. And what I mean by capacity is that you are operating out of what you can hold. So the way I describe capacity is like you have a cup, a bathtub, a pool, an ocean. Like they all hold water differently. And I think sometimes we build a business thinking we're a pool, but we're actually a cup,
Ooh.
right? And so
That's good.
so we get to this place of like feeling so burnt out, and it's because we've operated outside of what we can. And we do this for a couple reasons. I think it's like we want fast results to make us feel like we're not an imposter, or to make us feel like our offer is value, like we're valuable as a coach. A lot of comparisonitis, like if she did it this way and she's having success, then I have to do it that way. And a lot of overdoing it in the wrong areas, like a lot of strategy when really you can run your business quite simply. And I think that's what makes our capacity overflow, and not a great way. So a lot of the like clients I work with are really burnt out, and it's just because this whole time they were operating a business that they couldn't hold because it really was never theirs. It's like almost like a hand-me-down or a one-size-fit-all shirt. Like we don't love one size fit all. Like we want something really specific, but sometimes in business we're wearing that one size fit shirt and then we're out of capacity and we're like, what's going on? And it's just like, well, there's just some tweaks that we gotta make within your nervous system, within your mindset, within your self-trust, and really within your sales strategy. So that's what I've found with a lot of my clients and just in my community is like the burnout is just coming from not having capacity for their business based on their life, right? A full-time employee and a mom who has kids does not have the same capacity as I do.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
truly. Mm.
Yeah, you
Chantal,
have.
were you going to say something?
Yeah, I really, really like that visual that you gave of we're trying to operate like we're a pool when we're just a cup, not just a cup, but we're this beautiful full cup with so much wonderfulness. But when we're trying to compare ourselves to somebody who is in a pool, because maybe they have a team, maybe they have, they're just at a different point in their journey. And so from where we're sitting, it looks like they have a pool and we're trying to be a pool. Yeah, I really, really love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's crazy because once you go to that capacity of a cup, what you do is you actually grow into that pool because you work with your capacity. And that's where we kind of get to reverse that burnout. It's just like we're just gonna go back. I tell people being a beginner is sexy. We're gonna go and be a beginner again in the sense that we're gonna rebuild so you're not a burnt out CEO.
Yes.
Nice. My new mantra, being a beginner is sexy.
Yes, I
Love
have a whole
that.
podcast about it. I love it. It's such a because it makes it not
Oh,
so like wrong or bad. It's like
yeah.
it's sexy. It's fun.
Exactly. That's too funny. Another thing, Reagan, that really kind of popped out to me was you help your clients create business structure based on business needs.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it sounds so, it sounds like so elementary, but it's so not, as we know.
Yeah.
So, expand on that. Tell us why that's so important.
Yeah, I'll share my story. So when I first
Yeah.
started growing my business, I was going as fast as I could. And what I mean by that, I was trying every strategy that I could get my hands on, from launching to growing Instagram to email marketing to, whatever you want to call it. And the first time I ever launched, it flopped. Like zero people in. And I realized I had a lot of thoughts. I thought I was a failure. I thought I wasn't a great coach. And I just realized, like, actually, what happened was I pushed myself to this level my business wasn't ready for. And instead of just being like, oh, I'm at the beginning of building my business actually needs demand, right? How do I create demand? I sign clients and I create a great reputation. Like, how do we write like the best copy? We write a lot of Instagram posts, write a lot of emails. And I think what happens is we push so hard. We try to use all of the strategies, and our business just isn't ready for these strategies. They're actually ready for something much more basic. But in that basic strategy, like just, signing clients repeatedly, like one on one clients until you have a framework, right, is what can take you to like a multiple six-figure business, what I believe to be $1 million business. And so it's really just like reevaluating, like, do I even have the foundations for what I'm learning? And I had to learn that the hard way, right? After investing and launching. And then that's again why I'm like, being a beginner is like an identity. It's like I'm going to get my business what it needs. So in the future I can build upon it. But sometimes we just skip those steps because shiny object syndrome. Um, it's hard to be in that waiting period of like waiting for the results. And so instead of like repeating success, we want to add a different layer to it. And I think when I'd say, like, let's just get you what your business needs and really what you need at this level so you can expand in the future. So you don't have to wrap around again like I had to.
Exactly. Yeah. I think another component that comes into it is comparison.
Mhm.
As coaches, we're out there looking at other coaches and we see what they're doing and we think, oh, I should be doing that too.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh, back up and baby
Yeah.
step.
Yeah, for sure. And I think something that like always pops up is like I'm missing a piece. Like if I'm not getting the
Mhm.
result, I'm missing a piece of the puzzle, and the
Yeah.
puzzle must be a different strategy. And it's
Yep.
just like, well, the missing piece is like we haven't given the strategy that you have enough time, or
Time.
we just don't have the healing and the inner work and the self-trust. Like that's usually the missing piece.
Yeah. Energy is so key. You are
Oh yeah.
absolutely right. Oh,
Absolutely.
love
Yes.
it.
And trusting, having that self trust is so important, and finding that aligned strategy. Because
Mm,
if you're forcing yourself to do a strategy just because somebody told you to, then you're not going to do it with enough consistency and for
mm,
a long enough
Yeah.
time for it to be effective. Not that it's an effective, not that it's an ineffective strategy, or not that there's something wrong with you. You just weren't listening to that self trust and
mm.
were trying to force yourself to do something externally. Love
Yeah.
that.
Exactly.
It's just
Yeah.
so much, like easier to learn and do than it is to sit with the discomfort of things are just moving slower than I thought, or this wasn't what I thought it would look like, right? It's like those
Exactly.
expectations were higher than what you could have really, like what it should have been. And that gap of high expectations and like the reality, I think that's what causes the shame, the over investing, the doubt, the imposter syndrome. It's just like, what if the expectations were wrong? And that's okay.
Absolutely.
Truly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we get triggered into like fear and desperation.
Hmm.
Um, I'm going to post some more. I'm going to post some more.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we should just be grabbing our yoga mat or our roller skates and yeah, taking a
Yeah.
break and yeah, sitting with
Yeah.
it or go have fun.
Yeah, sitting with it, surrendering it. Like
Yeah.
that's actually what's going to get you results, but it's really hard when our logical brain is like, "No, I just
Oh,
need to
yeah.
tweak something. I just need something more."
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. It's always like, oh, what's missing? What's missing? You're right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. So, the title of our episode is all about the secret weapon for business growth. And so, like, we're so excited and so curious to find out what your secret weapon is. And so, tell us, like, what's the process and what are some of the top tips you can share with our listeners?
Yeah. So a concept that I created within my coaching is called the self-trust resume. And I believe it is the secret weapon. So when you think about like a resume, like a job resume, it's like all the evidence and proof of like why you're the best fit for this job. Like you're like, look at this. Like I'm good at what I do. I have the credentials. I've been doing this for years. Like I have the skill set. So when you interview for this position, you're very confident. You trust yourself because you have the proof and evidence. And I was like coaching one of my clients, and I was like, you need a self trust resume, right? You need a resume of such clear evidence and proof that you know how to create money in your business because that's what we're after a lot of the time is like, can I create this money on demand. Like, can I be my own safety? Like, that's always like the underline, like, can I be my own safety? Okay, can I pay my bills? Can I take myself on vacation? Can I, insert dream, desired life? And through the self trust resume, I have 4 areas that we collect evidence in so that this is how I created money. So you can always create money with this evidence. And it goes from thoughts, because I believe thoughts are like 90% of our results, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Nervous
Thoughts are
system
things.
regulations, yep. And also the strategy. That's why I keep it really simple, like, because then we can just tweak it. This worked. And then also like that identity, like who you see yourself as right now. And based on your business, this self-trust resume is like curated for you to learn, this is what I'm thinking, regulating, doing, and also seeing myself as when I create money. So you never have to be like, can I do this? Can I actually replace my paycheck? Can I actually create this multiple 6-figure business? It's like, well, yeah, you have the resume, right? And you add on that. And that's why I believe like that self-trust is like that secret weapon for sales that's missed and a lot of the things that we're doing. So just like you have a resume to get a high paying job, you have a resume that you're co-creating with yourself as you see results. So you can be like, oh yeah, I am the creator of my money. I don't feel out of safety. I feel like I am my own safety. So that is my like secret weapon, the thing I teach all my clients, what I create for myself, because it really just puts you in that position of really innate power of like, okay, yeah, I got this. Like, I'm so good at this.
That just is just so juicy. Um, as part of quantum human design, which is an offshoot of traditional human design, we talk about self trust as one of the 9 resiliency keys.
Mm.
And that's one of the things we're teaching in our Create a Life You Love membership. So I absolutely love this idea of a self trust resume. I mean, that's brilliant. It's so simple and so brilliant. A manifester had to come up with this. It had to be Reagan. Yeah, it's
That's so
fabulous.
funny. I was just literally in a coaching call and I was like, you know what? You need a resume of the proof and evidence of you creating money because
Yes.
you're out of that trust. So I'm so glad that you thought it was juicy in your resume.
Yeah. Oh, it's perfect. It's so resonant. Really cool. Um, Kind of piggybacking on some of the themes that we've been touching on, what else do you think holds people back from creating the life, the business of their dreams? What other
Mm.
things have you noticed as you've coached others that creates burnout and all of the other challenges?
Shame. Like
Ooh,
shame is, I feel like, the biggest thing that holds people back. Like,
yeah.
I should have done this, or I'm far behind, or I'm late, or I failed, or I made a mistake. Like, shame is heavy. And
Yes, it is.
shame will, like, be the operator behind the action so quickly if it's not brought to light and dealt with, right? Shame
Mhm.
about, like, I see it around money a lot. Shame
Yeah.
in money, like, oh, I'm in debt, or this investment didn't work out, or I've been in business for years and I've only signed a couple clients. Like,
Oh,
shame will take you out of the game very fast because it becomes your identity. It's like the
yeah.
shame and you glue together. And it's like, I am this person versus like that bird's eye view of, oh, this happened. Like, what, like, and telling that story differently and healing. But
Mm.
shame will knock you out of the game faster than anything else. I don't know if that's what you guys see, but that's what I see a lot.
Absolutely. I see different versions of it: imposter
Mhm.
syndrome, perfectionism.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It all falls into that same shame bucket.
Yeah.
Really spot on. It's very brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shame is heavy, but you can really the moment you just talk about it, I always say the moment you just bring it to light, it actually doesn't have as much power as you believe it does. My
Yeah.
coach said this a couple weeks ago. She's like, that feeling of resistance and shame is actually just worse than just feeling it or like getting to this
Yes.
place. Like the actual place isn't as bad, but that shame and resistance that you feel along the way, whew, it can be hard. Being an
Absolutely.
entrepreneur is hard.
It is. You're absolutely right. It takes a lot of, the ability to self-regulate,
Mhm.
and to kind of consistently keep yourself on track.
Yeah.
It's really challenging, which is why it's so important to have support,
Oh,
to have,
yeah.
to have a coach.
I have a coach. I always have a coach. I got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I think a coach and a community.
Yeah.
So, like the Create a Life You Love membership, like the Hive, like
Mhm.
different Facebook groups. We've got the Create a Life You Love community. There's so many things out there. Finding something, plugging in, and
Mhm.
having it be a safe place so that when you might not see that it's shame that's holding you back, but just by the things that you're sharing, a loving person can see it and call you out
Mhm.
on it and help you through it. And
Yeah.
that's so important to have that mirror and that
Mm.
safe, trusting relationship with someone such as a coach. Yeah.
Yeah. Amen.
Definitely. Mm.
So,
So good.
yes. So we've covered so much, and just any other kind of quick tips or takeaways that you really want to make sure that we share with the audience.
Mm.
Yeah. I would just remind yourself like there's no finish line. Like there's no like you're at this point and you're done. And I always tell my clients like you can get to the six figures, but you won't feel differently, right? Because what you're after is a feeling you can give yourself now. So these feelings of like abundance, these feelings of confidence, clarity, these feelings of feeling secure and safe, like that's an inside job. Like not any of the strategy in the world and no milestone can give you that for a long time. It'll be very fleeting. It'll be like a hit of dopamine, like a really good race, right? And so what I would tell you is like work on the ish that's coming with that and tapping into that feeling now and doing the inner work and the regulation and really simplifying that business model so that you can do that, right? That's why I really preach simplification so that you can really do that. But you're really after a feeling, and no one tells you that, or we forget to tell you that, but you're after a feeling that you can really learn to give yourself now. And it's that surrender that opens the floodgates to clients and money and your next best idea. So that's what I would like wrap up. If like you remember one thing, it's like that self trust, that clarity, all that comes from healing now and working on that identity now. It's actually the key to you unlocking what you want next, which is so reverse because that's not how we're conditioned, right? We're conditioned work hard, get the A, right? But in
Then
entrepreneurship,
feel good.
right? In entrepreneurship, it's more like give it to yourself now so you can receive it.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. It is so counterintuitive, but
Oh
you're
yeah.
absolutely 100% right. Yeah. If you can teach yourself how to feel good now and to lean into that, yeah, it really kind of opens all the doors.
Oh yeah. Because that's what you're after. Your brain doesn't get
Exactly.
that logically, but that's really what you're after to feel good and peace and safety. And that's truly something you can give yourself right now. Even if you're like, what? No way. I'm like, if you're willing to do the work, you can get there.
Exactly. Oh,
I
so
love
good.
it. Is so
Yes.
good. And it's empowering. It's not
Mm,
like, oh, well, it's a secret weapon like that I can't access. You break it down
Yeah.
so beautifully and so simply.
Mhm.
And I'd encourage anyone to go. We'll share links and everything in a minute, and we'll talk about where to connect with Reagan. But she does some amazing lives, and they're so just empowering and uplifting. And so you definitely want to go check out her Instagram. And I don't know where else you post, and we'll get into all that soon. But definitely, if this is resonating, definitely go connect with Reagan.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we love to also dive into what guests attribute their success to. So,
Mm,
what are some of your like micro habits or routines that really help you do all the things you do and do them so well?
it's so good. When I allow myself to be coached, right? When I'm like open and in my journal and then also going to my coach to be coached, like it's very transformational. Like I can be stubborn, so I really have to be like, and I have to have a lot of ego deaths. So I'm like, Reagan, you don't know everything. Like you're okay, right? But that I really love like I think of my life as like a pie, and I really only want business to be a slice.
Mm.
I don't want business
Ooh.
to take up 3 or 4. So I love having my business one slice. I love my husband, right? I have really great friends. I love Pilates. I just started. I'm like, "Oh my god, this is movement I actually enjoy." Right? I
Nice.
love the holidays. I love October.
Mm.
Like I just like let my life be full with a lot of pleasure, and I really worked on like business is only a part of me, and that's a part of my ritual. Like I don't want to be thinking about my business Saturday and Sunday. Like that's not my dream life.
Right.
Travel.
Mm.
So, but like the day to day, we got the journaling, we got the moving the body. My energy goes up and down, so I really trust my flow of energy. And that's why I just keep things simple. I keep on coming back to simple, but I just want my life to be more balanced. That's not a great word, but I like a lot of it to have a lot of different facets. And I think that's what makes my business so rich is it's just a part of me, not all of me.
Mm.
Yes. Yes. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to
I'm a
that.
yeah, I'm just a really flowy girl. I don't have a lot of rules about stuff. Like I'm not like I mean, I'm not a morning person, like, I'm not a 5 AM, like, "Let's hit the road." I'm like, "No, let's sleep. Let's watch Netflix at night." Like, I don't have a lot of rules and regulations. I just really follow, like, "Okay, I wanna be in the sunshine for 10 minutes." Like, that feels good. And I
Nice.
think having that freedom to not box myself in has really helped because I've tried. I've tried to be like the people I've read in the books, and I'm just too tired for that. I don't have the capacity for so really just allowing myself to just what do I need? I think that's my like ritual. What do I need today?
Mm.
And I love an iced coffee. Like making myself a homemade latte, nothing makes me happier.
I love
Yes.
that.
Yum.
If we could all just get back to simple and listening to that self trust in every aspect.
Mm,
How much sleep do I need today? Do I need
yeah,
to get up at 5 a.m. and do this structured morning ritual, or does my body need to sleep till 7? Like, what
yeah,
is it?
Yeah.
And listening to that inner voice. I love that.
yeah.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. I love that. And yes, um, you're absolutely right. The more I get into human design, the more I find that some people are really designed for structure and some are absolutely not and need to follow, the flow of kind of their own energetic cycles. And
Mhm.
so, yeah,
Yeah.
the traditional productivity success sort of model isn't a good fit for everyone.
Mm-mm. I think once I release that shame, like, oh, this just isn't for me, but not in like a bad way. Just like those shoes aren't for me, they're not my vibe,
Yep.
right? And once I was just like, okay, I can actually just, it can be very intuitive. I was like, oh yeah, I feel much better.
Exactly. Yeah. You can build an intuitive habit as opposed to a get up every day at 5 o'clock habit.
Yeah, that's just not me. And again, it works for people and it doesn't. So that's why I share like the rituals that come and go.
Exactly. Yeah. So good. Love it. So, well, as we look ahead, um, what is next for you? What's on the horizon? Do you have any events coming up?
Well, I'm not me personally, like I'm not hosting this, but I am going to my first in-person like conference this week. I'm really excited about. And then for my business, we are keeping it simple, right? 5 years down the road, I would love to have in-person events and masterminds, but I keep on reminding myself like I'm not in a rush to get there. Like my overall vision is to bring self-trust and especially the resume to the coaching industry and really kind of lead in that. And so I'm up for the ride of whatever that looks like.
I love
Um,
it.
yeah, right now I'm just coaching clients, developing intellectual property, really fine-tuning my craft. And in the future, like those are goals, but I'm like, we'll see when it happens, right? I'm not gonna get stuck on a timeline because that never ends well for me, right? That
Yeah.
pressure. But the overall vision is just to really bring that self trust into the sales conversation, into the
Mhm.
conversation of quitting your job, because I really do feel like it's such a key piece to it.
Indeed. I can so see a book, by the way. The
Oh, thank
self-trust
you.
resume.
Okay, I'll have to put that in my journal. I kind of like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe it's an audio book.
Ooh, that would be good.
It would be.
I'm taking all that in.
Love
Nice.
it. Yes. And so, how can people connect with you and learn more about you?
Yeah, so there's the two best ways are Instagram or my podcast, Real Talk with Reagan. I believe my
Hmm.
podcast is my best asset in business. If you want to sign clients starting this week, just go binge those episodes. So you can look that up on anywhere you stream podcasts. And then Instagram is where I hang out. And if you want the juicy, vulnerable stuff, always hop in on the email list. Is good.
Awesome.
Uh,
Awesome. And we're so excited that you are giving a generous, generous gift to the audience. So, tell us a little bit about this ebook.
Yeah. So when I was thinking about, okay, if you are stuck in a client drought, or if you feel burnt out, or if you're just trying to sign your first client, like what would be the actual steps that you needed? And I created a podcast slash ebook to give you the first three steps. I tell people it's probably better than some of your paid courses because I really lay out the exact steps. So part of it is a mindset and identity, and then the other two parts are actual strategy of like, okay, what can I do? So in that ebook, you're going to learn the three strategies to sign a four-figure client. So $1,000 and above. That's what I help my clients with, these high ticket sales. And that is for you to dive in. I would listen to it a couple of times, but if you really implement it, you're going to see a switch because I gave you some selling tips, content tips, and then the beginner is sexy mindset, what that looks like. So it's really so good. I'm so proud of it. I felt like I felt like so good. I was like, this is like a little book, an ebook.
It's perfect.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But
It's
the chunk
really,
of the
really cool.
information is so you can listen on the podcast. Because I remember side hustling, like sometimes you just need to pop it in the car or in the shower or while doing dishes. So it's a mixture of both.
Nice.
100%. And we're going to throw in a question that's not
Yeah.
necessarily on our theme, but kind of along our whole theme of the Create a Life You Love podcast. But what was it about coaching that really brought you to coaching? Because you could make an
Mhm.
impact in so many ways, and you're going to continue. You know, you've got the podcast, you've got this ebook, you're going to have another book when foresees it in the future.
Love it.
But so, what is it about coaching that really drew you to it?
I just believe that I was given this gift to help people realize like you're so powerful. And that's why I love coaching and being
Mm.
coached. And I think that coaching industry is changing our literal universe, right? It is changing everything because I believe that you're conditioned to be so small, so following rules, following like in people's footsteps, following what like the path that was provided. And I think coaching is a ticket to freedom. It's like a ticket to like, I want this, and it's like the most healing and most like powerful thing I believe you can do if coaching is your calling. And so I just believe like coaching is the ticket to set a lot of us free from a lot of things. Because we sign up to coach people, but becoming an entrepreneur is a very healing and powerful experience as well. So I just believe the coaching industry makes the world so rich. Like I really feel that. I'm like, who knows where I would be or how I would see myself if I hadn't like been like the coaching world I hadn't stumbled upon it. So I
Right.
just believe coaching is such a beautiful, powerful tool in people's toolboxes. Like I love it. I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah, definitely. So few people have someone who is fully present with them and
Mm,
holds safe space. And that's, truly at the truest essence what coaching is and what coaches do. And yeah, it's a rare gift to give someone, you know, the
mm,
gift of full presence. So
yeah,
yeah,
I
truly
love that.
powerful.
Mm, so so true. It's just a place for you to really become, I think. Like
Mm,
we're conditioned in so many areas where we should be, and especially as women, like
mhm.
what our career should look like, where we should be, like how we should act, talk, and it's just like coaching sets you free from so much conditioning, so much like should. And it's
Mhm.
like, well, actually, what do you want? And it's fun to play with. You're like, oh wait, I have an option. It's like, yeah, you do.
I love it.
Absolutely. Yes, me too. Mm.
Same.
Mm.
Ditto all that. Mic drop. We're out.
Sizzle. Oh, wow. This has been really fantastic, Reagan. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me on. I felt so honored. It's so amazing to be in the energy of coaches and really just talking about ways we can help people create the life that they love.
Woohoo!
Look at that.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we'll get all of those links and everything in the show notes and the replay notes, wherever you are listening from or watching from. Just look where it makes sense in that platform, and all the links to connect with Reagan will be there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we'd love to know what your takeaways are from today's episode, what value you received. And if you did have a great takeaway and you know someone who would enjoy Create a Life You Love, the podcast, we would really love it if you'd share it and also share a rating for the Create a Life You Love podcast. And you can do that quickly and easily at ratethispodcast.com/Calyl, Calyl. So super easy to do that.
Absolutely. And next week, you may remember a couple weeks ago, we were scheduled to be with Dr. Pooja Agarwal, and she was impacted by Hurricane Ian. And
Mm.
so she is back and ready to come and share her wisdom. We're thrilled to bring her on next week. And as a reminder, she's a neurologist and a certified burnout and growth mindset expert. She teaches busy, high achieving female professionals how to get rid of overwhelm, stress less, and find yourself in our chaotic, fast paced world. So be sure to check us out. Same thing, same time, same place next Tuesday.
Exactly. So glad we could get Dr. Pooja rescheduled. And of course, you can find us live in the Create a Life You Love community on Facebook or catch us on your favorite podcasting platform. So,
Absolutely.
without
And
further ado, ladies.
Even if, like today, we had some tech difficulties, we didn't end up live in the Create a Life You Love Facebook community, but it did go live on YouTube. So I copy pasted the share link, and so some of you came over. So if that is kind of your home base, the Create a Life You Love community, and we will find a way to get you where we are. Yay, technology.
Exactly.
We
There's
love
always
it.
something. Exactly. And Mercury's not even in retrograde. Go figure.
Go figure. It couldn't possibly be user error. Never.
Oh, well, no.
I love it. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Reagan. Always a pleasure to connect with you. We'll have to get together for coffee since we live in the same
Yes, I
town.
would love that.
Yes. All right, everyone. Go connect with Reagan, and we will see you next week. Have a good evening.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Create a Life You Love podcast. We would love to hear from you about your biggest takeaways. Share them with us on Facebook or Instagram at Create a Life You Love Coaching. If you love this episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. If you're ready to build aligned and sustainable momentum without overwhelm and burnout, we invite you to apply for the Create a Life You Love membership on our website, createalifeyoulovecoaching.com/membership. That's it for now. Enjoy the journey.